for anyone that doesn't get an opportunity to attend in person. So they'll be posted on our traffic calming website a few days after the meeting's over. So I'm Amy Birch, traffic engineer and consultant that with Birch Transportation, and we work with Kimley Horn, and this is Lan Lee with Kimley Horn, and we work with NDOT to help facilitate this traffic calming program. So Lan is going to be monitoring the chat. If anybody else joins online, she'll be able to let me know if there are questions to be asked. So thanks for coming. I recognize the three of you from our last meeting. So some of this we're going to do a bit of a background just for anyone that may watch this later or join later that's not familiar with the project and the program. But we're here as our second meeting to talk about the traffic calming project on Hickory Park Drive. So just a little bit of stepping back, what is traffic calming? Our neighborhood street traffic calming program focuses on residential streets only. And we look to apply physical measures to slow vehicle speeds down to an appropriate neighborhood speed. Sorry about that. Maybe if I come back over here. Okay. Thank you. Hiding that. Okay, so what we're trying to do is slow vehicle speeds. And the 3 E's of traffic calming, we talk about education, enforcement, and engineering. So what the NDOT program is doing is focused on the engineering. How do we change and modify the street to encourage slower speeds? We also do have some education. Part of this education is these meetings that we have to educate people on why we want slower speeds. And also the enforcement is what the police handle. So safety, Envision Zero. This is really what we're talking about here, is the likelihood of pedestrians' survivability if they're struck by a vehicle that's speeding. So this diagram is showing that a pedestrian that's hit at 25 miles per hour has an 89% chance of survival. But as that speed goes up, and we have these speeds on some of our residential streets, as that speed goes up, the chance of survival is drastically reduced. So at 45 miles per hour, a pedestrian only has 35% chance of survival. That's why we're doing this. This is a very, very popular program, as you're probably aware. So as of the selection, when Hickory Park was selected for traffic calming, based on a data-driven process of evaluating all these applications, we had 464 streets that had applied for traffic calming all across the county. So this street was selected in February of this year as one of 26 projects. So it's high demand, and you guys are lucky to be included in the program now, but unlucky because you had the conditions that required the need for traffic calming. But that's why we want to apply some physical measures and reduce that speeding and make it safer and increase the quality of life on the street. So outside of our program, the traffic calming program, the Hub Nashville is a great resource. If you're not familiar with it, it's kind of a one-stop shop for all things metro, not just NDOT and traffic issues, but stormwater issues, NES issues like streetlights are out or something like that. That's where you can go and report those things, and it gets directed to the correct department and the right person to handle that issue. So it's not just NDOT and traffic, but all the other departments as well. So there's you can call on your phone, 311, or there's a website. It's hub.nashville.gov. There's also an app you can download on your phone. And what it does is, like, when you make that request, it gives you a ticket number, basically, a request number. And so you can follow back up on it if you don't get a response. So it's a great resource for services in Nashville. So back to our street and what we're here to talk about on Hickory Park Drive. I'm just showing on this map here the limits of our project, which is from the north end between Riverdale and basically the end of the street. So it's right next to the Mill Creek Greenway. And now we're going to talk about the traffic calming measures that, excuse me, we have recommended for Hickory Park Drive. Am I in your view? Can you see? Okay, good. We're recommending speed cushions, and this is based on the type of street it is, the volumes of the street, and the width of the street and so forth. So speed cushions are rubberized devices that we kind of can configure in various arrangements. But the main thing about speed cushions is that they have gaps between them so that emergency vehicles aren't impacted as much. But we space them and the width of them are such that passenger cars still have to go over them. They're not.
Oh, that's the space made for the emergency?
Yeah, so emergency vehicles have a slightly wider wheelbase, so they kind of straddle them in an emergency when they're on the street, but passenger cars have a narrower wheelbase, so they still have to go over.
Can speed too.
I don't.
We'll try, let you know.
Okay.
I'm a bus driver.
Well, don't speed, but just drive over them or straddle them, right? So they also, based on the type of street, we may put them in different configurations as far as how long they are, and the length that you're driving over them. That's called a length. So we might do 7-foot lengths. That's more real urban areas, 10.5-foot length over them, or 14 feet if they're on maybe a higher classification street. Then their height is 3 inches high. And in this picture, you can't see all that well, but we're trying to show kind of just the profile view of them, but they have a little flat piece on top, then they kind of ramp down on either side. So with these, we'll put them in series. So we'll space them somewhere between 250 to 600 feet apart, usually, depending on a lot of criteria like driveway spacing, street spacing, grade. We have to look at the grade of the road because we have some limitations. We can't put them on steep grade. But we put them in series so that we encourage a consistent speed along the length of the street. So if we just put one in and nothing else, we might not get the outcome that we're looking for. So we try to space them.
I'm not really happy about those streets, like you mentioned, because the bikes can still speed through.
Yeah, they may, but
We have a couple of them in our subdivision, and they make a lot of trouble. Maybe.
we like this particular device with the gaps on lower volume residential streets. So that's what we typically use. You'll also see in this upper left-hand picture, we paired them with warning signage, provide that feedback to drivers that there's a speed cushion there, or they can expect them along the length of the street. And then this picture on the bottom right is applicable to Hickory Park Drive because of these delineator posts that you see. The main goes out. This picture we've got right on the edge line, because there's extra width here. And so we want to prevent drivers from trying to just go around and circumvent the cushion. So we put those up. And so on Hickory Park Drive, we're also proposing to put those where the bike lane is to keep people from trying to drive around in the bike lane.
Plastic?
Yes. They're plastic, but they are flexible, so they're designed to take some. You've seen them all over town, right? Yeah. I mean, that does happen. They do get replaced. That's a hub request, when you see them get knocked down permanently. But they are meant to take some wear and tear on them. So NDOT's been using these for the past several years now, these speed cushion devices, and we've been doing these before-after studies so that we can tell you what we would expect to change as far as the speed goes after they're installed. So we're just showing a summary of 3 before and after studies that we've done for speed cushions, and the graph on the left side is the average speed. So before the cushions were installed, the average speed was 31 miles per hour. And then the after average speed was 22 miles per hour. And this yellow dotted line is signifying the speed limit is 25. So that's the average speed comparison, and the 85th percentile speed is the speed that 85% of the traffic is going that speed or below. And it's just a metric that we traffic engineers reference a lot as far as what the appropriate speed of a road is, or what the speed on the road is based on the data. So the before was 37 miles per hour in the speed study, and then the after was 25 miles per hour. So got the 85th percentile speed down to the speed limit, and so that we think they're very effective. This just shows how effective these tools are. We're also recommending a radar feedback sign on the street, kind of as you enter your part of the neighborhood, right at Rivendell for traffic coming south. And these are also effective. I think our 85th percentile speeds have come down like 7 miles per hour in our before after studies, and average speed at 6 miles per hour.
So are you recommending a combination of both?
Yes, we're recommending a combination. So these are the signs, and they'll show the vehicle's speed as they're approaching, and then it flashes speed if they're going above the posted speed limit. So
3% for the fluctuation that they can go if they go 1 mile over, it stop flashing, or 5 miles.
it's 1 mile over if they're going over the speed limit.
Immediately.
It's been flashed. All right, so now we're going to get into the plan. So we can. This is the overview plan, and then I'm going to drill into a couple of sheets to get closer views for you. But just to orient you, north is up. The pink line is our street section that we're talking about, and these yellow C's are the locations of the speed cushions that we're recommending.
Remember I told you.
So we had a little pre-discussion because we were out early, and so we were talking about this plan. And at the last meeting, I thought we heard that maybe people didn't think there's a need to put one on the far end and down here, but I'm hearing that that would be desired to keep that one in the plan. So we can put that back. We can put that back. That was an original concept. I'm sorry if I heard that wrong. But
Is that midway in between
this
that?
is Shire,
Before my house.
Shire, and then
Toward her house, toward the end?
My house is right there where she got.
Ewan is coming down.
That's an avenue. That's a Shire path.
And that's Shire. So I'm talking about putting one right around in.
A little bit farther down. Yeah, a little bit farther down. Yeah.
And it really, when I looked, I went out and cited where to put that one previously, and it's real tricky with the driveways. So these driveways are pretty close together. But I think it can be done. Just
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
because one thing we try to do is keep some spacing between the cushion and a driveway, so that when you're backing out of your driveway, you're not going over it sideways. You know what I mean? So you have some room to get out. So we do need to keep that in mind. And we have to look at both sides of the road. Driveways aren't aligned all the time. So that's why I'm saying it's
right next to your house or my house.
Okay.
There's some.
Very much somebody taking us out and we're coming in that room.
The worst case scenario is between your house and the Rupesh, going all the way down to my house. That's,
Where you had indicated that, is that closer to where that common open area is?
Yes, that's where I, thought it would go before.
Down by the
Yeah.
Greenway?
There's a lot in here that's.
It's near, 5617?
I believe so.
To play soccer at down?
No, no.
You were 27.
Yeah, which one is that?
17, I think it's 17 or 19. You go first 4 houses, past the soccer, or not, well, volleyball area, and then there's an open area, that's a drainage, that area.
Okay.
Not anything on that side, there'll be houses on the other side, but it'll,
We'll go to that.
it is right there.
Somewhere in here. So there's like,
Oh.
on that, by the,
So.
It's a common area.
Farther down.
well,
The first somewhere here or here.
it's just be back there, in this area. These two driveways are very close. That's, then we get too close here, so,
Remember I mentioned when people stay here in Portland, and I'm at my house here, they have already 40 miles speed limit.
Yeah.
This gap here gives them enough without accelerating. The sports car getting already 40 miles speed.
right. We also have to, one, but, we have to keep some space from an intersection as well.
Okay, that's fine.
That, go, hey, Goran, with that open area there, they're gonna speed more in that open area there.
This one here,
Yeah, they're gonna speed more in there because there's nothing on the other side, but if you look, they're not gonna hit another speed or a speed cushion until they get past Shire. So there's gonna be a longer stretch before they hit another.
It'll be a long stretch, okay.
I know what you're saying, yeah, but there's a intersection, so people coming down the road, we have a lot of people, they don't even, obey the sign. They just go.
This stuff, so they just allow right
It's just,
through.
just go through. But we have millions of them. I had myself, I have to dodge one girl, she was running for the school bus and I barely survived.
God.
Yeah, she came down the street and I had to almost hit the school bus.
All right, so, let's go back to the north end of the street. So you can see just north of Rivendell Court, that's where we're showing the radar feedback sign. I think it's where the existing speed limit sign is. We would,
So that's the first one cushion comes there.
yes, this first set of cushions is just south of Rivendell, after you get south of Rivendell. And so it's got the speed cushions ahead sign, and, so it's right at 5482, right from their driveway.
There's the entrance to the apartments there.
Okay.
Yeah, the symbols are a little bit kind of deceiving because they're obviously spanning wider on the road, but that's just how we show them on our plans. But, yeah, it's gonna be enough distance away from that driveway.
I mean, I'm not concerned, I'm not living in that apartment, but, in these apartments, but, that's the very important, the second set. That's the very important right there around
This
that.
one down here.
Correct. This is very important because around those curves,
Yeah.
people are going like, they're not driving, they're flying low.
There's a crosswalk there, so we're trying to slow them down before they get to the crosswalk as they're entering the neighborhood. They get close to the park, and that's,
Just before the crosswalk.
spacing that we're looking for between those two, so, yep. So these two, because there's the bike lanes, these are in sets of 3.
Okay.
And I'll show another image of that, how that lays out on the pavement in one of the next slides, but, so, and then up here, there's a set between 5584 and 5580.
Just before Shire.
Just before Shire. It also has, the warning sign with this 20-mile-per-hour advisory speed. Because there's only bike lane on the west side of the street, because there's not really bike lane on the right side of the street, we have width to put 4. the cross.
Or that's the place the sign is gonna be placed, or you're gonna move it back because of that new set? You know what I'm talking about?
You're gonna add another set where that open area is,
Right,
but the
right.
sign will still be there,
Another sign down
there'll be
there.
another sign
There'll be more signs down.
right near front yard.
Just about where my house is, or past my house.
All right, so this shows the cross section of the street and how the pavement markings and the cushions lie in that 37 with the pavement. So you've got curb and gutter on both sides. So configuration A is up where you have bike lanes on both sides. That's the one on the left. And so these white circles are where we're showing flexible delineators kind of leading up to the cushion and then one in line with the cushion to keep drivers from trying to go around in the
Those are
bike
those
lane.
posts.
Those are those white flexible posts, exactly. So we're not talking about doing it like the full length of the street, but just like at the locations where the cushions are. You can see on this configuration, which is the third set in, we don't have the bike lane on the side of the street where the homes are located, parks on the east side of this, or the west side. So we've only got the delineators on one side, and so we're putting the cushions pretty much all the way to the gutter.
The spacing between those cushions, it's, what is it, 2
2
feet?
feet, 2 feet, so that's pretty narrow for bikes to go through. You know, they're gonna slow down because they're not gonna wanna hit
No,
it.
2 feet is like this. Feet is 12 inches, like this.
You're not gonna catch everything.
Activity.
Oh, that's 1 feet.
This is one. It's got a little extra on the side. That's kind of good. Right? So that's what we propose. Hearing the feedback and, knowing that we originally proposed the fourth set, I think we can put that in and incorporate that in the plan before we go to the ballot. So let's talk about.
Can we ask for one other thing, going back to the last more, where Shire comes down and meets Hickory Park? Is there any way to put a stop line at that intersection, since that's still part of Hickory Park? There's a stop sign there, but we think the stop line will at least,
But stop sign is also too far down, rather,
It's around the
Oh,
corner.
yes, just, okay.
far down.
Yeah, you,
And if you would
mentioned that.
stop line on paint, maybe another, maybe 30, 40 yards, that the people know where's the division between, because they cut in the corners. And if somebody, just in case, have an accident, that they know that they are at fault, because there's so far I know 2 accidents, people cutting the corner.
Not stopping at the stop sign. They didn't stop at the stop sign.
But no, coming in to merging from the vehicle,
Turning
Or-
on to
going
Shire.
off the hill down,
Oh, God, yeah, that's horrible.
yeah. So people cutting that
Yeah,
corner.
we can look at that.
it'll help, it won't stop everything, but it'll,
It will give an idea, people, that this is stop sign, or how far they can go out, where's the middle of the road. And
how
that
far they're supposed to go out.
supposed to, that's a good word.
Okay, all right. So, here's where we are in the program. We started with the application that was submitted. It was selected through a data-driven, process, a prioritization. We had our first meeting in May, to talk about, a little bit more detail about the program and the tools in our toolbox. And then we also presented a concept that we got some, feedback from. And then, we went and did our design that, presented to you. And then, we were ready for meeting number 2. So that's what we're having right now. Meeting 2, so we're getting our final, comments on the design. We will make those, edits. And then move into the online ballot phase. I've got some slides to specifically talk about the ballot, and how we do the vote and everything. And then after that, we move into construction. And that takes some time after the ballot closes. So balloting, this is how NDOT and the program make sure that people in the neighborhood are supportive of the project and know about the project. So what we do is we send postcards to all the property owners. It's access to an online ballot. And it has these unique ID codes in the bottom right corner, and that's how you use that to vote. There's a QR code at the top. You can use your smartphone. From there, you can access the plans. Those plans will be posted online. So if you're voting, you can take a look at what you're voting for or against.
Like the yellow ones we got.
Yeah, they're like the yellow ones, exactly.
The instruction or what.
There will be instructions. They have a lot of text on there about, this is, about traffic calming and how long the window is open. So there's a date at the top and it will say when the ballot closes. We have it open for a 6-week window. So we know when it starts and when it ends. And when you get it in the mail, do it right away so you don't forget and lose the card. But it'll tell you when it closes, and then we'll tally the votes. And if 66% of the respondents vote yes for the project, then it will move forward into construction.
That's the one they affected on the road, correct?
Right, my next slide shows that too. So,
Okay. How many homes?
I cannot tell you right off the top of my head, but it is between Rivendell and the street, but just the ones on Hickory Park Drive. So,
How many homes you need from the 30 to like a 20?
so we don't need, no, it's just based on how many participate in the vote. We need 66% of those that participate in the vote to be yes
But the
votes.
project will be going on anyway.
Not the physical measures, right? So what you're voting on is vote yes, that you want speed cushions installed on the street. And so we need, in order for the project to for us to order the materials and get it installed, we need 66% of the respondents to be yes votes.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily 66% of all those properties shown here. We would love that amount of participation, but it doesn't happen.
We need to encourage the people.
So
And
it's
these-
66 of the
Of the
responding.
responding property owner votes.
So if basically if 3 people, 2 out of 3, they would pass.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so, yeah, if you vote yes, if you vote no, then it's still
Have
gonna
you
pass.
had much interaction with the apartments, townhomes?
There was someone, here at the last meeting, I
Yeah.
think, that was, from there.
That's gonna happen more than you guys do.
Oh, yeah,
So,
yeah. Especially the one closer to the Hickory Park or 2 big buildings.
And they already have these forms that do. In the.
Oh, no, you're talking about the.
Okay, so also I'll-
Hickory Park, that's the 2 buildings. Yeah.
so those are all, individually owned properties, right?
I think they rent quite a bit of.
Right, so the cards, the opportunity to vote, it only goes to property owners, and property owners, are only allowed 1 vote, even if they have multiple properties, so. So you're not necessarily gonna have somebody that owns like 6 in a row, vote 6 no's, their vote is only 1.
Okay.
So we don't have any businesses here, but businesses aren't eligible to vote in this. And we're focused on, residential property owners. And we don't have this in this scenario either, but like churches and nonprofits are allowed to vote.
6 weeks open for voting.
6 weeks open for the ballot, correct? And
And we
then,
get any kind of feedback of how the process is going.
yes, I have a, email address at the end. You can reach out and email us and we will give, an update like a week before. If, you need to contact us and ask for it. But yes, we will give an update so you you'll know about how many votes have been received to date and what the percent is. And then after the vote closes, we post the results of our ballots online, not individual votes or anything like that, but just the percent, yes.
Okay, on this street, I know there's like maybe at least 3-4 homes for rent. So the people that live there, do they have rights to vote or just the owner?
Just the owner,
Oh,
it's just the owner.
It's just like anything, and we have to get them to forward.
And that's where the postcard gets mailed as well. The ballot card,
ballot cards,
that goes to the property owner's address that's listed on
not the
Metro's.
physical address.
Not necessarily the physical address. If the property owner's address is a different address,
It's
that's
in
where it goes.
Texas, it goes to the Texas.
Texas, Wyoming, okay, that's where it goes.
But again, if they have multiple units, they only get one vote.
Correct, correct.
Okay.
And, yep. And there's unique ID, there's some back end work that we do with Multimodal those. That's why we have the unique ID too, so we don't have multiple votes. And some people, you vote, then your spouse votes. We get multiple votes, sometimes we only use one. So we'll use the most recent one, so.
So
And you're
you recognize it, so from one home,
because of the unique ID that we have. So every property or every card that goes out has a unique ID.
so that means I can steal from the neighbors?
No.
Oh, yeah, I will pass that.
But you are encouraged to knock on your neighbors' doors and talk to them in the driveway and remind them that they should be looking
I'll
for this
give my
card
best, yeah, to.
and to vote.
Well, we have
Get the message
The
out.
Mexican guy across the street.
And-
I bet you 1,000,000% those, the Mexican, they have a lot of cars, they speeding through,
Oh,
they
yeah.
will say no.
Another point about the balloting that I'd like to point out is it is an online vote, but if there's someone that receives their ballot card and they don't have means to vote online or it's not working for them, there's also a phone number on the card that they can contact someone, leave a message, they'll get a call back, and NDOT will help them through that process. So we
Oh.
want to make it easy enough.
No vote for benefit, that's not good.
That's right. If you want to vote, we want you to vote.
You got nine.
But-
Random,
So,
2 national numbers. Then your friend at 39 numbers, 2 properties.
I feel so one of the palms right there.
Yeah.
Even stuff.
all right, so
That's good description.
from there on our, sort of like next steps after the vote, or next steps from here is we take about 2 weeks to get our, ballot cards mailed out and into your mailbox, and then you should be receiving those. And then you can start voting, and that, will start our 6-week window.
So is that 8 weeks?
So 8 weeks from now, we should have a closed ballot. We should have-
Okay, from this day,
Right. Give or take a few days.
so that means,
Fix that.
close to the end of October.
Then we work on, ordering the materials. We have to get those from the vendor and they have to be shipped in and all of that. And then we work with the contractor that's on call. So we don't have to bid this project out. We've got a contractor that's steady installing these, but it'll take them another four months or so to, get it installed.
Dash or somewhere. Name.
Oh, yeah, next summer.
Have I left anything out, Lance?
The code online, does that give them the pictures of what locations the
Yes.
presentation was?
So this, that QR code at
Yeah.
the top, when I snap that at the top, it takes you to this form here that, start filling out your information, like your name, your address and all that stuff, and your unique ID, but at the top, there's a link that says view the plans. And then on the website, we have a, list of ballot, voting in progress. Those plans will be at the top, and then the voting that's closed will be at the bottom. So they'll be able to easily click on that and see those same plans that I just presented.
So they're gonna be sent probably next week, those cards.
Yeah, probably next week. So that should be in the mail. Shortly after that. We do, because we've talked about a couple of changes to the plan, we gotta incorporate those.
That's.
Yeah, but that won't take long. I don't think that'll, add too much to our, timeline.
Because I mentioned that they're gonna add some new homes, they will leave out. Yeah.
So here's our, contact information. It's my name, Amy Birch, and, my email address, amybirch@birchtransportation.com, and then NDOT's, main, website, or, sorry, email address for the traffic calming program is ndottrafficcalming@nashville.gov. So you can reach those, to ask for an update on status of the ballot, before it closes. Again, you're encouraged to, get people to vote.
Birch, Springdale Birch, you know that name? These, I don't know if this is still, but, oh,
This is our, QR code, and the web address is right there to the main traffic calming website. It's trafficcalming.nashville.gov. These are NDOT's social channels. I guess we need to change that to X. Facebook and Instagram, that's how you can reach, or follow NDOT. They're always posting about neighborhood meetings for all the projects that are going on and installs of sidewalks and things. So, great place to follow along. Are there any questions?
Is there any way to get a copy of the presentation?
Sure.
Because we want to push people to get involved, because otherwise they won't, as reflection, how many people showed up today.
No, we had such a good turnout last meeting. Yeah, so, I mean, maybe there
'Cause I don't live there, so.
were quite a few folks that lived, on Shire that really want traffic calming on Shire, but, it has not been selected yet. But yes, we can provide that. After the meeting, we can, exchange contact info, and you can use that to encourage people to vote.
And then
What else?
go on the Nashville hub and see if we can get somebody to do something in Bell Road. No.
Yeah, that's
You can
a
write
great place, yeah. Go to the hub and put in your request or what the issue is, and it gets directed to the right department. Whether that's, I mean, police has a more direct way to access them, but, I think you can also put in police first access as well.
there's some direct space for the trimming trees, I believe.
I mean, where would we start with the drug addicts, the trash, the trees?
All right, well, if there's nothing else, I'm gonna stop the recording.
Review, just real quick part, from there's a review, like 5 or 7 years ago, I could find it